Hey, come on back in the room. See, they didn't want to talk about this topic today. I see. So come on back in the room. Come on back in the room. Let's talk. Say hello as you're coming in the room.
Come on back in the room. I see.
Come on and
come on back in the room. Talk. Say hello as you're coming.
Please like and share this video as you are coming in. Great afternoon to you all. I don't know what happened, but we got booted out. But guess what? We back. We back. So come on in the room. Say hello as you're coming in. Say hello as you are coming in. It's an amazing Thursday, and we are coming to chat about forgiveness. We're coming to chat about forgiveness. Coming to chat about forgiveness. And so, hey, cousin, how are you? So I apologize. Come on back in the room. Come on and chat with me for a little bit. We are talking about forgiveness. And hey, Pooh, how are you? Hey, Gerald, how are you? We are talking about forgiveness today. And here's the dynamic. Many of us have a hard time with it. We talk and we say that we got it, but many of us have a very, very hard time with forgiveness. Hey, Sissy Pooh, how are you? Hey, Tanae, how are you? And so many of us have a challenge with this whole forgiveness thing because most of the time, forgiveness seems unfair. Especially when you're talking about forgiving someone that has wronged you and has officially, they wronged you. You know that you did right. Hey, Ken Pooh, you know that you did everything. You know that you invested in them. You know that you were there. You know that you were supportive. You know everything. Forgiveness is a hard thing when you know they wronged you. Forgiveness can seem very, very unfair. But here's the thing. There is power in forgiveness. There is something liberating when you begin to forgive someone that you know that has done you wrong. And here's the piece to the power. Being able to forgive them, listen, without them saying they're sorry. Because oftentimes, many of them are never going to admit to the fact that they did anything wrong. Some of them will make excuses for why they did what they did, but will never admit that they were actually wrong. But the forgiveness is not for them. I know sometimes we think that forgiveness means that we're letting them off the hook, or forgiveness means that we're being naive, or forgiveness means that we are not recognizing what they did wrong to us. That is so far from the truth. The truth of the matter is, hey, Maurice, the truth of the matter is that forgiveness means that I am activating a level of power within me that I can free myself to where you no longer have power over me. Because when I do not forgive you, you hold a level of power over me, which means you consume my thoughts, which means you consume my actions, which means you consume the way I do things, which means you consume how I feel about myself. When I do not forgive you, I give you a certain level of power over me. When I do not forgive you, I give you a certain level of power over me. Why would I give you that kind of power over me when you've already demonstrated that you don't even know how to handle me? One of life's greatest lessons comes in encountering disappointments from those we thought would be there for us. Hurt from relationships gone bad, absentee parents during childhood, betrayal in invested friendships, sexual abuse from family or friends, or even self-inflicted wounds have left many of us asking the question, why? It's in here. Many of us, we begin to question our worth. We begin to question our value. We begin to question all kinds of stuff because of that whole piece of not being able to forgive. Because disappointments will leave you in a place where your mind will be so consumed by the why till you miss the actual purpose of it. It may have been to reveal something. It may have been to develop something. It may have been to shift something. But we get so stuck and consumed on the why. Why did they hurt me? Why did they betray me? Why did they abandon me? Why did they disappoint me? And I get it. We are human. So we get stuck in the why. We get stuck in the why. As with anything else, forgiveness is a process. You have to begin to forgive yourself first. Because here's the truth of the matter. Many of us sit at home, even when we're dealing with unforgiveness of other people, we are badgering ourselves about why we allowed it to happen. Okay, maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one. We sometimes will beat up on ourselves about why we allowed something to happen. Why didn't we see the red flags? Why didn't we see that they didn't love me? Why didn't we see that they were using me? Why didn't I see that we didn't really connect? Why didn't I see the warning signs? Why didn't I see this? Here's the dynamic. You have to first forgive yourself before you can release pure forgiveness to someone else. When I learned how to forgive Shabana, when I learned, not Dr. Vaughn, not Pastor Vaughn, not Elder Vaughn, when I learned how to forgive Shabana for all the things I allowed to happen, for all the things I self-inflicted, for all the things I saw the warning signs and I kept on doing, when I learned how to forgive Shabana, it was easy for me to forgive the people that actually did the act. Because now half of the battle is forgiving me. I mean, come on. Half of the battle is forgiving me. And so when I actually got to the point where I was able to forgive me, it did not matter whether or not they ever said they were sorry. Now I've gotten so liberated that I want to release. I don't even want you to be connected to me anymore. So I forgive you. I release you. Enjoy your life. Whatever the blessings of the Lord be upon you. But you will no longer hold me hostage to the place where you left me. Woo! I think I said something. You will no longer hold me hostage to the place where you left me. I will no longer be bound to that place. I'm free. Forgiveness frees you. Forgiveness frees you. Forgiveness frees you. We're so consumed about waiting for somebody to say they're sorry, waiting for somebody to give a big apology. And guess what? I wanted it too. And it's good if you receive it. But the liberating part is when you release it off of you, even if they never say I'm sorry, you're okay. And you don't hold any grudges against them. You don't speak any ill will against them. You have just freed yourself. I freed myself. I freed myself. You have to extend a measure of grace to yourself so that you can heal and stop the cycle that unforgiveness leaves you in. You have to, listen what I said, you have to extend a measure of grace to yourself so that you can heal and stop the cycle so that you're no longer bound to unforgiveness. Healing starts with a decision. Healing starts with a decision. Healing starts with a decision. And that decision is tied to you, not the decision of others, the decision that's tied to you. Bitterness can produce a fear to let people in or make people push people away because of a mistake that they've experienced by somebody else. See, here's what I'm telling you about unforgiveness. When you do not forgive, you develop a level of fear when anything that resembles that what happened to you, anything that resembles it, it couldn't even be it, but anything that resembles it, you will begin to push it away. You will begin to, throw it away. You will begin to look at it and be scared to let people in because of what happened to you. Because guess what? You're still bound to it. No, but somebody needs to say, I'm not going to be back. I'm no longer bound. As of today, I'm no longer bound. As of today, I'm freeing my own self. As of today, I am freeing my own self. As of today, I ain't waiting for nobody else. As of today, I am freeing my own self. So bitterness will produce that. So you got to free yourself. You got to free yourself. Listen, you have to remember that forgiveness requires action. You can't just say it with your mouth. Forgiveness requires action. It's more than what you say. You have to be an active participant in forgiveness. You have to be an active participant in forgiveness. You have to be an active participant in forgiveness. Not for them, for you. For you. Total forgiveness allows God. This, Jaleesa, you on here? Listen. Jarlene, you listening? Adrian, you listening? Janella, you listening? Listen to what I'm about to say. This is what I've been living by since God gave it to me. You listening? Total forgiveness allows God to take the pain out of the memory and allow you to receive the measure of grace and faith as a result. I'll read it again. Total forgiveness allows God to take the pain out of the memory and allow you to receive the measure of grace and faith that he promised you. I'll say it one more time because it's good to me. Total forgiveness allows God to take the pain out of the memory, just the memory, and allow you to receive the measure of grace and favor that he promised you. The forgiveness will allow God to take the very sting, take the very pain out of the memory. Because if the truth be told, some of the stuff that we dealt with, come on, y'all. Some of the stuff that we dealt with, the pain, just the thought of it brings the pain back. What does it mean when you said you have to be an active participant in forgiveness? Here's what it means. When I say you have to be an active participant in forgiveness, you have to be the one that initiates it. Because the forgiveness has to be looked at not as an extension of what you're giving, but an extension of what you're receiving. Say it again. Not as an extension of what you're giving, but an extension of what you're receiving. You don't have to go and tell the person, I forgive you. You actually begin to release the unforgiveness in the atmosphere that releases you from the bondage of the bitterness. So when I say you have to be an active participant, you have to be the one that initiates the process of forgiveness. Like I said, not as the giver, but to actually begin to position yourself to receive it. Because when you forgive, there's a release that happens. When you forgive, you know what? I don't even know if this how I do it all the time. I talk to myself and I said, no, Jarlene, you don't have to go to the person. Let me tell you something. I go all the way back, because I love this. So I had some encounters as a child, through some molestation as a child. And listen, I had to begin to actually sit in my home, never face to face with the person. In my home, you know what I began to say? You may never apologize, but you'll no longer have power over me. The more I say it, you may never apologize, but you'll no longer have power over me. The more I said it, the more I believed it. The more I believed it, the more I felt it. The more I felt it, the more I experienced it. I'm trying to help somebody. I was sitting in my home when I had my greatest release of freedom. I didn't have to make a phone call. I didn't even have to go to them and express to them that they hurt me or that I was upset with them or I was angry with them. Nope. I sat in my home and said, you know what? I called the person's name out and I said, you may never apologize. You may never apologize, but I forgive you. And then here's the next thing that I did with me. I took a pen and a piece of paper. This is one of my greatest exercises for myself. So I'm going to share it with you too. I use it in my coaching sessions, but I'm going to share it for free right on here. Then I actually sat down and I wrote a complete letter to the individual. And I expressed every single solitary feeling that I had inside of me. The anger, the cussing, the pain, the disappointment. I didn't hold back anything. I was raw in the letter. I was raw in the letter about my raw feelings in the letter. And then when I was finished, I said, God, Now that I released it out of me, I was real with it. I released everything that I've been holding for the last 20 years. Now that I released it and I wrote it out, I made it real that my feelings are now out my head and now they're on paper. Went outside to the park, took a walk, lit that letter, and I said, God, as the wind blows, these ashes, I will never experience this again. But it started in my house. It started with me saying it, feeling it, believing it. Once I believed it, that's when I released it. Burnt that letter. Them ashes went to flying. May not work for you. I'm telling you what worked for me. I felt such a liberation. Like I'm trying to tell you, I felt such a liberation. Here's the dynamic. Felt such a liberation. I sung at the man's funeral. I felt such a liberation that I started doing it for all the things that I have been dealing with in my life. I started applying that. I started applying that to every situation. Yes, Lee, it was so freeing. But here's the thing. Now I apply it to everything. I don't hold nothing, y'all. I don't hold anything. If something happens right now, if it's still weighing on me in a couple of days, we about to have an experience. Because I have too much. I have too much that I need from God. I have too much that I want from God. I have too much that God promised me for me to be bound by unforgiveness for anything that anybody does to me. And no, that does not make me naive. No, that does not make me not see what they did. What it does is it makes it to the point where I realize it's not relevant. It doesn't matter. It does not hold weight in my journey. Come on here. It does not hold weight in my journey. Why? Because I am forgiving and releasing everything, not for them, but for me. I walked around bound for too many years. I walked around bound for too many years. And now that I'm free, not one issue, not one instance is going to cause me to be bound again. Forgiveness frees you. Forgiveness frees you. Forgives you. Here's the thing. I want you to take a moment and think about what is it that's been weighing on you that you ain't forgave for. The process starts with you. You want to release it? We can release it today. You want to release it? We can release it today. You can release it today. You can take the steps to start the process. Because here's what I want you to think about. What has it benefited you to hold on to unforgiveness? How is it added to your life? I'll wait. How has unforgiveness added to your life? If you can't tell me how unforgiveness added to your life, then you need to release it today. If you can't tell me how unforgiveness has added to your life, then you need to release it today. Why would you hold on to something that's not adding to your life? Yep, it cost me more. That's right, Jaleesa. It cost me more not to forgive than it would for me to forgive. Because you do realize that you blocked God's hand because of the unforgiveness that you got in your heart. Because if he can't even trust you to release the measure of grace and forgive, how can he trust you with this abundance you want him to drop on you? Because guess what? Something's going to happen. As long as you are alive, something else is going to happen. I'm telling you, when I learned that forgiveness was for me, it was the most liberating experience I could have ever experienced. And so it's not that I don't care. It's not, because I have a heart and I love hard. I have a heart and my feelings can sometimes be on my sleeve. But sometimes I got to check myself. I got to bring myself in. Are you really going to stay stuck in that? Or are you going to let it go? I have to check myself. Because here's the thing, y'all. We always praying, God, forgive me. God, forgive me. You know, you at the altar. You know you done messed up. Or you in your home or whatever. You in your car. You praying God to forgive you for something that you did. But you want him to forgive you for something you did. And act like ain't. And throw it in the sea of forgetfulness. So that it'll never come up again. But you want to hold something on somebody for 10, 15, and 20 years. You tell me how that adds up. Tell me how that adds up. Honestly, tell me how that adds up. We want God to wipe our slate clean, but we keep other people's slates piled high. And who is it hurting? You. It ain't hurting them. Think about it. The people that have wronged you have gone on with their lives, y'all. They ain't paying you no mind. They not apologizing. They're not apologetic. They don't care. They done moved on. And you're stuck. Because they dropped you. Well, come on, Mephibosheth. Even with your limp, come sit at the table that was prepared for you. Yeah, I said it. Well, come on, Mephibosheth. Yeah, they dropped you. But come on, even with your limp, can't walk. Come on, sit at the table that was prepared for you. Don't miss your table. Hi, God. Don't miss your table being worried about who dropped you. Oh, that's good to me. Don't miss your table being consumed. Ah, yeah. Glory to God. Don't miss your table. Please don't miss your table being consumed by somebody that dropped you. Even with my limp, I'm sitting at the table. Even with my limp, I'm walking in my purpose. Even with my limp, I'm sitting where God told me to sit. Yeah, I got some flaws. I got some blemishes. I may even walk with a limp because somebody dropped me and I can see the scar from where they dropped me. But guess what? Even with my scar, y'all, I'm sitting at the table. Even at, oh my God. Even with my struggle, I'm sitting at the table. And so listen, the forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is not for the other person. Don't miss your table. Don't miss your season. Don't miss your promise. Focused on the person that dropped you back there. That's right, Jaleesa. I didn't deserve to be dropped, but I was. And even that, I had to forgive. I didn't deserve what happened to me. But even in that, if I keep looking back there at what happened to me, I'm going to miss my table up there. My table up there. They telling me the king. They telling me the king is calling for me. But I'm still looking back there. They telling me the king is calling for me to come sit at my table. And I am still looking back there at where the person dropped me, where they mishandled me. But the king is up there calling me to my table. The king is up there calling me to my table. But I am so focused about who dropped me back there. Don't miss your table. Don't miss your table. Don't miss your table. Forgiveness may seem unfair. It may seem unfair. I get it. But you got to shift your perspective to look at it. What does it do for me? What is it about to do for me? And so listen, that was our talk for today. The power of forgiveness. That was our talk for today. So listen, be sure that you forgive. Be sure that you forgive. Forgiveness is the power that it gives you. I hope I gave you something to think about today, something to strengthen you, something to empower you. As always, is Lunchtime Empowerment Talks with Dr. Vaughn. I am Dr. Shavonna Whitehead. It's always my privilege, my honor, and my pleasure to come and join you today. Don't miss your table. Forgive and take a seat at your table. I love you all. I'll see you next week, Tuesday at 1 p.m.